Yeah. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of The Way I See It. My name is Chris. Um, so, happy Monday. Hope everybody's having a great day. Um, what I wanted to basically talk to you about was that tonight is going to be the first episode of this second or third season, depending on how you're counting, of Cosmos, Possible Worlds. Basically, it's a better. It's basically it's a new reboot of the original Cosmos, written by Carl Sagan and his wife Anne Druyan. Carl Sagan was a theoretical physicist, so he was an astrophysicist in his own and studied at universities. I'm not going to go too much into his idea, but he really much talked about, one of the things I remember watching from the original Cosmos was, he said, in order to bake a cake, you must first create the universe. Very intellectual man, and he inspired Neil deGrasse Tyson in his own way, as he personally met him through a few things. Just watch the first season. He goes into it, and he talked about how he signed a book that he has to this day about his passion of science and the space and the universe and everything was inspired by him. And that's one of the things that I think is a good thing to talk about today. Just coming up with it is, you're gonna have to move towards what inspires you. You have to move to what motivates you to do what you're doing. A lot of people today don't necessarily move towards their own personal inspirations. They start out that way. When you're young, you have like this passion to do whatever your parents or whoever is raising you want to please that person. Then once you find out that if your passions are aligned with the people around you, they tend to grow very well. They spring up. They do a lot of beneficial things for you. You could probably be very successful if you're able to work towards it. But if you're not, and you focus on you run into a lot of problems where people are always knocking you for what you're doing or who you are. You tend to fall apart, not in the sense of like you break down, but you don't. If you're a paper plane, and you basically throw a plane across the room, it's gonna keep gliding as long as there's no disturbance in the air or anything inside its way. So, for instance, like the idea of a sailboat, and a rowboat. A rowboat takes effort, and it only is as powerful as the person that is rowing the boat. But a sailboat is, as long as there's wind blowing, you will be, no matter where the wind goes, you have to do a less effort. So, and that's kind of like where I'm getting at, is that you want to find, in our world that we're in today, you want to pay attention to, there are a whole bunch of winds going in all different directions, and based off of which wind you want to go, you have to identify that first. Identify the wind that you want to take, and then just use your boat to take you wherever that goes. As long as you're moving with the wind power, stay with me here, where you're not really worried too much about where you're actually going to go, you will always be able to enjoy the ride, because of the fact that it's taking you wherever you need to go, where no one can actually be in control of the wind. Now, that there's a third piece to that. How about that you were able to learn some things on the journeys that you went, and you took notes, and you build out a book or a video, and you were able to give it to people who are not on that same journey. They might be on another journey, on another wind, and that information and that idea, when you hand something to someone else and they can give you something, that's a transaction, and you can use the benefits from that transaction to maybe buy a bigger sail, or maybe you can use it to buy a motor, so that way you can turn your sailboat into a speedboat when you need to, if you want to steer yourself in the directions that you want to get to. But it's going to take some effort to move from one direction to the other. You know, some people sometimes are always rowing, and they're always rowing, and they never stop. That's why you ever hear the term row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That really has some undertones in it. We could talk about that later, but I don't want to really talk about that right now. What I really want to talk about is you're going to have to put some effort into things you want to like. If you don't like the direction that you're going in, you may have to start rowing yourself in the direction that you want to go in. And that rowing could be anything. If you want to go ahead and become a singer, you might want to start listening to the people that sing the songs that you like. You might want to practice singing every day. You might want to find people who are also looking to sing too. And you guys become friends or rivals, but you don't have to be like enemies where you're angry at each other. You can learn from each other, and you can both get where you need to go. There's enough for everyone. And the other thing is, you can go ahead and you can utilize a motor, so you can kind of turn your boat into a speedboat. And if you were singing, you might want to do something like you would go ahead and take the money that you made through all of the things you learned about singing, you know, and turn that into you can hire a teacher, you know, or you can buy a device that might allow you to sing well, like maybe like auto tuning, you know. You can get someone to sing the songs that you want, and you don't have to sing, and then they could sing in your name. You can you know, and something like that. There's a lot of things that you can really do with the once you understand that there's short term and long term goals, and the things that separate yourselves from a long term goal is just the number of days and the number of transactions that each one of those kind of goes through. So I would definitely pay attention to that, because what it is that everything can be coded in the way you need to go. If you want to basically be a developer, for instance, like for me, I kind of just focused on every problem that was ahead of me. You know, I just focused on what I needed to get done, how I needed to get it done, and I just worked towards it. I would find people who were better than me and learn from them. I would look over code that people are basically focusing on, and I would always make sure that whatever I was programming or building or writing was for some bigger purpose, whether it was like to get a job, to win a competition, you know, or maybe to even like come get paid for, you know, when we're working on a project at work. But one of the things that you can always use is that journey that you've taken. You can always share that journey with someone else. Doesn't have to be somebody from younger than you either. Sometimes there can be people that's older than you that wants to do something else better. But you need to understand your value and learn how to share your value with people who are like-minded or interested, and have fun. You know, that's kind of like where it is. There isn't necessarily a destination. Just because you make it from one part to another doesn't mean that that's it. There could be more. There's more things. There's more journeys. There's more adventures that you can go on. And I'm glad I did that. That was actually something I was able to think about, something I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to know what I want to go about. So I talked about tonight. There's a Cosmos. This is the next episode is coming out, next season, and the first episode is coming out on National Geographic. And because of that, I remembered all the things that makes me want to actually watch that. I was able to remember myself why I'm excited, and then I was able to come up with an idea to talk to you guys about it. So that's it. You know, thanks a lot, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Take care.